welcome to another Gray Magnolias blog thing. I think I'm going to take you along in either a day full of writing or a week worth. I kind of have to work at my real job for the week, like the whole week up until Sunday. So I hope to get a lot of writing done. A little bit about my story. I started writing it last year, and I decided to publish a few chapters on Wattpad. And that did okay, like nothing crazy. Which, I mean, it's still big for me, so I don't want to, talk down on that achievement. I have like 30-something views, but you can tell, like, if people read the chapter or not, so it's not that accurate of people who actually read it. And then earlier this year, like I think maybe a month ago, I reached 80,000 words written in that story, and I was like, oh my god, it was like 220 pages, but because I had it, I mean, I'm not going to go into details of that. And then I was like, you know what? I'm missing a lot. I had just gone over, like, through a reread, and I loved some chapters, but it was missing an aspect that I really wanted in my story. So I was like, you know what? Let me rewrite the beginning. Rewrite the beginning. I can do that, no problem. And I wrote 10,000 words that day. Like, my hands hurt so bad at the end of the day. But I did. I wrote 10,000 words from the beginning. It's completely restructured at this point. And I've had the original story on the side, and I was trying to salvage those chapters, especially that I really liked, even after rereading it. I think I read through it twice, maybe even 3 times, and every time I got to those certain chapters, like, oh my god, I love this. So I tried my best to keep it. Cars. So now here I am. I'm currently at, God, I want to say 30,000 words, almost, or maybe 50. No, 30 or 40,000 words in my story. And it's the same story, but it's also a new story all in the same. So yeah, I'm really happy with where it's going. There's some things that obviously in the editing phase that I will need to just be better at, or not be better, but, fix, right? So that, and then I was getting kind of into a stalemate, and I go with my flow, right? I just kind of start, and I write as much as I can write. I usually knock out about 2 chapters for sure, but 3 on a good day. And that's pretty good for me. I mean, I'm a total noob. I'm just going in this blind, and I have spoken to a few authors that I love their stories, and I've kind of picked their brain a little bit. And my expectations have, like, really gone down of what I'm going to accomplish. Not that I'm not going to do good, but what I want to, like, I'll finish a story in, like, a year. And, I mean, look at me. I'm pretty much rewriting a whole story that I wrote 80,000 words in. That's quite a bit. So, yeah, I'm going to take you along what I accomplished today and kind of check in here and there, maybe just throughout the week, because I do plan to get a lot done this week. It's a very rainy day, and I wish I was home, not at work. But, yeah. Okay, just checking in. Like, I really want to write, but I'm also not in the mood, which is really frustrating. But I forgot where I left off saying. So, at this point, I have rewritten my story. I'm at 54,703 words. And there is still some bits and pieces I want to use from what I originally wrote. But sadly, at this point, most of it is scrapped. I mean, the tone has changed, some of the names has changed, like other things have changed. It's still like the same
concept is just different. I don't know, I don't want to go into too much detail. I've learned the less you share, the better, because things change way too often when you're creating a world, a story, characters, and stuff like that. So, so I was feeling kind of like a stalemate, and I needed something else to just kind of step away. You know, it's always good to step away when it becomes too much. So I started writing, either this is going to be book 2 or book 3, because I'm still weighing if I want book 1 of this series to be a duet or just like a 2-parter, like within the book, and it just be like a really long book. Because if I were to do a duet, then book 1 would end on a major cliffhanger, and I know a lot of people hate that. And then like the next book is either not out yet or won't be out for a long time, and I can't predict where my life would be if I were to do that. So I'm leaning more towards making it just one big ass first book. But funny enough, I'm almost at where I was, right? I'm at not there. But, and this is like obviously only single-sided, but I'm at 133 pages, but I'm at 54,703 words, which I find interesting, and the font is smaller, like the font size is smaller as well. Obviously, I don't think that's what it would be for the, you know, to make the final thing, or, you know, when you self-publish or whatever. So I started working on, you know, the next book in the series, because it's, I think there's going to be like an overarching plot that is throughout, kind of, but each book is going to have its own couple character type of thing, and that obviously happy ending, double point of view. What was I getting with this? Some are going to be like slow burn, some will be fast burn. You know, it's just however the characters are speaking to me. So, and oh, this one I was getting to. I would highly recommend reading it once I get there. Like, I always think too far ahead, but I would highly recommend reading it from the beginning to understand the world. It's not fantasy. It is set in, like, you know, modern. So it's like, I guess you could consider it as contemporary. It is mafia, but with like a little twist. So yeah, I'm like really happy with it. And in the second book, or third, I'm just gonna call it the second book. So we're following another set of characters, which you meet in the first book, and you kind of already know some of the situation they're going through, but not obviously their backstory, which is why I would like highly recommend, you know, reading it in order. So so yeah, I'm at 10,000 words, 10,303 words with this one, and I can already, I know this is like weird, let me backtrack a little bit. I didn't grow up like, I mean, I would write like little stories here and there, but it wasn't like my thing. I was like an avid reader. Oh my God, I consumed so much so fast. I really wish I kept track of everything I've read, because there's certain books that I, like little bits and pieces come back to me, and I don't know what they were, and I would love to reread them. But then, I don't know, just kind of just on a whim. And then I tried writing something, oh God, like 4 or 5 years ago. It was more of a, like a young adult fantasy. It had too much, like, you know, history involved, of like Viking history and stuff, that, I don't know, I felt like it was like above what I would be capable of doing at that time, or what I could have been capable of doing at that time. Like I have, oh my God, if I go into my like Word document stuff and I look to see, I have so many ideas, it's insane. I use Notions, which not sponsor or anything, but there was another booktuber slash writer that she recommended it, and it is completely free, which is nice. There's certain aspects like you can pay for it, but I honestly feel like you're not missing much. So I've kind of been putting all my writing ideas in here, and I have, besides this series, I mean, so with this series, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 books in that series. I have that 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4, possibly 5, but I think that 5th one that I haven't put in here as an idea, and might not even get to any of these, let's be real. I don't think I feel like it'd be a lot to handle, especially the concept of it. I could just share a little bit, the idea in my head. The male main character has DID, dissociative disorder, you know, multiple personality disorder. And I feel like to do it justice and do it correctly, I would have to do a lot of research on that and get sensitive readers and stuff like that. So I feel like that's way down the road. So that idea is like, you know, not even on the stovetop. So yeah, no, I just am. How I started writing, I just wrote what was in my mind. I was just writing. Oh, and there's another, which I haven't written on here, which is what I started with first. It's a dark fantasy romance, which ended up a series as well in my brain. And then, oh my God, I started writing it in second person. That was mistake number one, okay? And, oh my God, I love it. I think I know what I'm kind of gonna like turn it over to. I mean, it's completely scrapped at this point. I'll reread through it when I'm ready for that, to then, you know, figure it out. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm kind of in between. I feel like I'm not too far off. I would say I'm a little bit less than halfway through my first book that I've been digitally, wow. It's a Monday for me, but that I've been working on steadily. I mean, I've been at this rewrite pretty much for a month, and I'm already here, while the first time I wrote it, it took me like 4 months to get to at that point. So yeah, I look at word count goals to just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna try to write, you know, 5,000 words this week. You know, if it ends up being 2 chapters or 3 or 1 or however much. And I do have like an end word count goal. Page wise, I would like them to be, you know, more than 200, so like 250 minimum, and then like 300, 400 pages maximum. I know for a fact, I'm like all over the place. I know for a fact that there is one story, which is book numero, my computer's loading, which falls under, it'd be book number 4, I think. Don't quote me on this, but I know that that book is going to be a lot. It's 3 point of views. I don't do love triangles. It's not a love triangle, but it's going to be very taboo. There's going to be a lot more history and stuff of like this one thing that I kind of created, and it might even have to be a 2-parter because it's going to be jam-packed, and like all these 3 characters are all very different. One thing that I've realized in my very short writing career since I've started is I'm a really bad speller, and I'm not diagnosed, but when I looked up the things, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I have that. I have some dyslexia. It's not extreme, like words, like I read a lot, so like I'm capable of reading, and it's never been a struggle for me. But I do flip things around. That correlates with my really bad spelling. Like, it's bad. So if you see something, just give me a break. I try. If I really try hard and focus and concentrate, like, it's not that bad. And I'm also bilingual. Spanish was my first language up until 2nd grade, so it's not like a huge thing that, you know, clashes with my brain, but the English language sucks. Like, that's all I gotta say. I mean, you know, certain spelling and stuff like that, I just can't see it in my brain, and it just makes it a whole mess. So that's been a real struggle and like really frustrating when like I can't think of words that like I should know, you know. So, you know, and grammar, forget about it. Like, I don't know that. I do, but not, you know. And then also, I don't know, I forgot what it's called, but there's another form of dyslexia which has a different name that has to do with numbers. I cannot, like, if you tell me a larger number than maybe 1,000, I don't know what you're, like, out loud, like, I can't picture what you're saying. If I see it on paper, like, I understand, but I've struggled in math my whole life, and I'm not a numbers person. So hello, on day 2 of my writing week. Day 1 was not so good. but here we are, day 2. I'm going to start doing something that I should have done when I first started writing my story. So I'm not sure how much writing I'll get done today, but I have a notebook. I have pens and highlighters and pencils, eraser, my favorite pen to write with. I'm gonna start with the second book that I don't have much. I think I only have like 4 chapters in there. So I'm gonna kind of do like a read through, and then what I wanna do is write important points in each chapter, because I mean, I have a fairly good memory, but at the same time I don't. So I wanna make sure that my certain characteristics and facts and ages and all this stuff are coherent, and I'm not like second guessing myself in names, and you know, I'm gonna try to make the notes as simple as possible, and maybe some things that I want to change or whatever if I see anything that like stands out. Because my biggest problem in like my first rough draft of my first book, I had no clue what age they were. That was my fault. My fault. I did this time skip, and there's an age gap of like almost 15 to 20 years. It was just a hot mess, and I can't do math, you know, so it was just a disaster. So I want to try to, you know, like, so I'm just gonna go chapter by chapter, and just in a couple of things, like, you know, whoever I mentioned, who they are, their age, maybe a couple of descriptors, like eye color. In my second book, I'm messing up on the female main character's eye color, I'm pretty sure. So that is my goal for today. Hopefully I get some writing done. I don't have much, like I said, in this second book, and maybe I'll kind of like just jump into it. And I'm kind of itching to do a reread of what I've written so far in my second draft of book 1. I don't know if that'll be a mistake. I know rereading it over and over again is like never really a good thing, because I've, who was it? Runix, she did a Darkverse series. She's kind of doing a reread through her series that's already published, because she's finishing the last book of it. And it was like, I think it was her debut novel. And she was like, does anybody ever want to like completely just trash what they wrote and rewrite it, because they can think of it so much better? So yes, maybe there's a benefit in doing that in the drafting process, like edit, you know, like well before it gets anywhere close to the final product. I just have the fear of being burnt out of the story, the characters, and stuff like that. So hopefully I can accomplish something today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe my meds are not working or whatever, but I just don't want to do anything. But I'm at work. Work is getting slow here, and I don't have my little one chasing after me. I don't have to, like, you know, always pay attention to him and cook and clean and all that stuff, so I can get some of my personal things done while I multitask the things I have to do at work, which aren't that complex. So I'll check in a few hours. I'm so hungry. I'm really in the mood for Chinese takeout. That sounds really good. Like some crab rangoons and some sesame chicken or General Tso's chicken or something. I'm hungry. But yeah, I will check in later. Hello. This clip is being filmed about maybe a week or 2 after all the other clips that you've watched, and I kind of want to like keep it all together, because I think it's going to really show my progress in my writing journey. A lot has changed since all that you've seen already, like I said. So this is where I'm at. I felt really stuck in the chemistry and my main male character. I don't know what it was. I loved them individually, but together with my female main character, it just wasn't clicking. There was more in between story missing, and I was just kind of like, sorry, I'm touching my nose. I was kind of just starting to get all over the place again, and even though I was much happier with this draft that I typed out up to like 132 pages, 50,000 words, than my first draft, which is 8,000 words. So I paused, I printed everything off in, I printed off like pretty constricted. You can kind of see here, there's like, it's small and I have plenty of space. So I printed it off, I put it in a binder along with a lot of lined paper. And one of the things, I've been watching some videos in regards to like how to better your writing and stuff like that. And one big thing that they emphasized was reading it in a different format. which before I proceeded and wrote another 20 something thousand words and just ended up not being happy with it and just felt like it was still very sloppy and messy, that even going back and editing it would just result in me writing it all over again. So to avoid that, for the past, this would be my second week. God, my hair's already different from that time as well. That's a different story. So yeah, I've been reading over what I've written. I have a copious amount of notes. I'm not even done through my reread. But then I gave myself pause yesterday. And which, I don't know, I've never started with an outline. Just kind of wrote, and I think that's my problem, right? I have all the ideas in my head, and then I start forgetting certain details, and then at some points when I'm reading through my story, it's just kind of like a different story all of a sudden. Okay, but I have the idea. So I was writing things by hand, which I've never really done. Will I be able to read what I wrote? That's another question. So I decided to do an outline, which I usually try to look for inspiration on how people write out their outlines to then kind of like, okay, now I know what to do. But I just winged it, which I feel pretty proud of myself about. So I just did, I did like the plot. I have here location, tropes, and then I wrote down all my conflicts, because it's not going to be, I know for sure it's not one conflict, it's several like personal conflicts, an overarching conflict. So I wrote all of that down. I wrote down the climax of something that I thought about during writing my first draft, which I did want to keep, that will be the key point if this will be one book for book one or a duet. So it depends how long that ends up being when I get to that point. So yeah, I wrote a lot of notes, a lot of key factors. I wrote a list of key elements that I want, like lessons and just key elements in my story that are important to the character growth, my characters as individuals, and as like together as a unit. I just finished reading two amazing books by two amazing authors that are new to me, but they've been around for a long time. I've kind of stepped away from indie authors. I have an extremely long list of books I want to read, but I picked up, what did I even start with? Yeah, I already posted it. I picked up a couple of Sandra Brown's novels that I had on my bookshelf and was just blown away by the depth and layers in such a short book that really inspired me. So then I finished two books in like a day apart, which is amazing. Not because I finished it in one go, but I had like very little left. I just finished Envy by Sandra Brown, which was amazing, highly recommended. I'll most definitely go into more detail with that in a book wrap up or something. Maybe I'll do like a mid-month check-in, I don't know. And then this morning on the 5th of May, happy Cinco de Mayo, I just finished reading Perfect by Judith McNaught. I'll put like pictures here or something. That book was perfect. I think if I used to cry a lot when I would read. I think if I was more back to my younger self and I was like a total crybaby, I still am, but differently, I would have wept. I would have cried so much with that damn book. Like it was perfect. Like there was nothing, even the like issue between the two lead characters that kind of created a major rift in them getting together. Even though I was kind of like about it, like it was just over, like the conclusion, how it resolved, the groveling, like I can't describe to you what a beautiful book that was. From like my recollection, I have never read something that depicted love in such a way. And like, it wasn't even the two main characters, right? It was her siblings, her parents, his friend, everyone around them. It was just, and it wasn't just like sexual love, like between like partners and stuff, but it was just like family love, friendship love. It was beautiful. Like I cannot recommend that book enough. And I even like jumped the gun and I ordered Paradise, which is book one of that little series. They don't go together, they just have characters that appear, blah blah blah, all that. Anyway, so that brings me back to like what the biggest thing that I was missing from my story was like the layers, the character growth, the like individuality to them becoming together, which I'm not even fully at the part where they're like together. I was in my first draft, my second draft I wasn't just there yet. It was kind of But then, like, you know, reading through, I was missing that. And one thing that I've noticed that has changed dramatically in how I read and stuff like that is I still need romance. Like, I need it. Even if it's like the last point of the story, I need some kind of happily ever after of like the two people that I wanted to be together be together. Like, I need that, right? But I've also realized that I desperately need layers. I need the understanding, the communication, the just kind of like, you know, seeing each character fall in love with the other and it being described to me through the writing. I relish in that, I have to say. Like, thinking back of all the things that just have made me a die-hard romance fanatic reader, it has to be that feeling. I've posted about it before, like on Instagram and just like other things, I've mentioned it, but just that what just gets me going and picking up a romance book after romance book is that feeling of when the characters fall in love. As simple as it is, even if it's just like not super descriptive and long and passionate, to just like little moments that just, it makes them click in their head. And the Perfect made it just perfect. I fell in love. I read back to a letter that he sent the female main character, and I just was so moved, so moved. So I really, and you know, it helped me also like realize how much I was missing in my story. At this point, I probably might not even finish this for another year or two for all that I know, but I feel like I have a better, clearer picture of what my conflict is, my middle, beginning, end, and resolutions, and how I really want them, like where do they start to how they'll develop together and where they will end. So that, and I'm also making a character list. I don't have like an abundance of characters, but I just wanted to keep track of that as well. And also there's this kind of, in my story, there's like this secret society of sorts. Not what most books that have a secret society mean, but it's just, I don't want to get too much into it. So I wanted to be very, I made notes about that too, and I feel like that really helped me, and I wish I did that at the beginning. But honestly, I don't regret anything that I've gone through to get to this point, because it's really made me see more and just think more about what I'm writing and how I want it to be, what I would love my readers to read, and like how I want them to feel. Again, I know that not everyone's gonna love this, you know, this creation of mine, so to speak, and that is totally fine, but I still wanted to resonate with people to connect. And I'm actually putting a lot of my culture, which I feel like I've disconnected myself from over the years. Not that I like neglect it, I just, you know, when you're not really around it, and like, for example, what I'm trying to say is like, I'm Cuban. I was born in America, but both my parents are Cuban. I speak Spanish, not that good, but enough, like, well, more than the average person. Like, it is was my first language, became my second language because I spoke English much, you know, whatever, however you want to interpret that. So like, you know, I just feel like I've been putting a little bit of myself in this story and certain elements, and I don't know, I'm like really excited. So this video might be like a just straight hot mess. Like, again, it might be, I don't know, end of the year and I get this done and I work on my way towards publishing it, or it might be 2, 5, 10 years from now, for all I know. But I think it'd be really neat to see my progress of like everything, and like, you know, when I get to that moment that I hit publish, if it's self-published or whatever I end up doing, that I can like look back and be like, oh my god, what was I thinking, you know? And maybe, I don't know, I can connect with some of you out there that have been writing for years, or my hair's getting stuck in my glasses, or are like, you know, wanting to take that step, and, you know, they've been writing secretly and they kind of want to put it out there. So yeah, I'm gonna conclude here. This was like all over the damn place, but I'm like so excited. I don't know when I'll do a writing update, probably several months from now, just especially if I have like something significant to share. And yeah, I'm very excited. Thank you so much for watching. I would greatly appreciate it if you like, subscribe, leave a comment. I love to interact with whoever's watching, if anyone's watching. And you can follow me on my socials. They'll be posted down below. I'll try to link them so it's easier to just click and go there if you so wish to follow me. I have one kind of like personal hobby page. It's more like a hobby page. I really don't share anything personal about myself on there, which is what this is as well. This channel, it's like my hobby channel. And then I also have there my author channel, which I have not posted at all. Like, I don't know how people have multiple accounts, but once I am, you know, in my final draft and all that stuff, I'll most definitely start promoting the hell out of myself over there. So if you wanna be one of the first, I would greatly appreciate it. I begin to